And here we are back again, and Gregg Millett, he was on a few weeks ago when he was just getting ready to leave for China. He's our technical director, so he's a captive audience. He's going to be in the building. I know he's here. And we wanted to just kind of get a wrap up on what he did in China with the Flying Tigers, and to represent them in that country, who they just love the Flying Tigers. And they love Gregg Millett. Hi, Gregg Millett, how are you?
Thanks.
Good.
I'm back. And
Yeah.
you know what? I like to talk in elevators. Even in China.
You start talking.
I say, anybody speak English? And it always gets a good response, some laughs. So I had an amazing trip.
Yeah, and you brought some footage that we're showing of Green Lake Park.
Yeah.
It's amazing because I know when I first saw some of this, I said, oh, was that on a Saturday? Because they're doing Tai Chi and they're doing this and then what? And you said, no, this is like an everyday thing.
The break footage is not only a Monday, it's a rainy Monday.
Wow.
And then 7 days later, I filmed Saturday. So I took about 10 hours of footage in China. So if you're a Channel 16 watcher and you watch Near and Far, I'm showing Cuba right now, but I'm going to have a lot of, from my point of view, great footage on China.
Yeah, you're a world traveler.
Well, I try to get the street view. I try to show what people are doing on the street, and holy smokes, are there a lot of people on the street in China. It's changed more. My China connection is because of my dad, 1945, colored photographs. My friend Jin Fei Bao made those photographs famous in China, and himself along with it, and me when I go there. So I sign pictures and books. And
I understand you signed somebody's head.
How did you know that? He just leaned right over. I'm signing books and pictures. He leaned right over, and I put the friendship sign on his head and my initials. And he just ran away laughing and showing his head to people.
How funny.
It's fun to be famous for a few minutes.
Yeah. So Flying Tigers, how important are they in China? Or in Kunming?
It's actually Kunming, you know, and Kunming kind of influences the rest of China. Now, my trip was multidimensional, but the start was with a group of MBAs that are in an adventure club that my friend Jin Fei Bao connected with to do these events. And the real focus of the event was, one, to do a 10-kilometer run, because they love exercise and adventure, and two, to support the Chinese veterans of World War II, the men that worked with the Flying Tigers. They were the support people. 20 of them came to the first event, and we raised $14,000 by selling a few things that I brought to China, some drawings from John Mollison in Dakotas, and a couple of my dad's photographs. And not only that, the MBA people, you know, they're entrepreneurs, they had money, and they bought these 5 items, and then they donated them to the Flying Tiger Museum.
Oh my, how nice.
And the night we read bags with cash to the veterans. Very complex. Most of these veterans served prison time after the Mao in '49 because they were anti-revolutionaries, and so it's really
well, they were under Chiang Kai-shek.
Right, so it's very complex history, but the history has shifted now so that they're heroes. We're heroes, they're heroes in terms of ending the imperialism of World War II. So it was really touching to chat with the old veterans with an interpreter.
And how well were you received there? I mean,
Jin Fei Bao, and he put me up as the symbol of the Flying Tigers because of my dad. My dad being a doctor that took care of the pilots. If you were an American in 1945, in China, you're a Flying Tiger. So I was the representative, and some people would say, you're the Flying Tiger. I'd say, no, my dad. Okay, yeah. Okay.
You're not quite that old, Greg, because they're in their 90s now.
And then they did a race, and then we went on to the Flying Tiger Museum, and then we did about 6 other things in terms of this trip.
And we understand that Jin Fei Bao will be here to run in the Boston Marathon?
I think 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
He and his friend Fei Shuang land, and we're going to host them. They hosted me, we'll host them, take him to Boston, and take him around Schenectady, take him to the Aerosciences Museum, and oh, did I tell you I have a challenge? I'm supposed to find a P-40 aircraft.
Anybody out there, you have a P-40 aircraft in your backyard, you don't know what to do with, check with Greg.
I got to find one.
Got to find one.
And I'll bring a suitcase full of money back from China, or Fei Bao will. He'll buy it. They want
They're going to buy a P-40. So the call is out there. If you know someone who has a P-40 plane, it's just not, they're not talking a model. They're talking about the real thing.
Right, but it could be broken down, and it could be it has to be shipped in a box anyway. So yeah.
In a box? Big
yeah,
box.
A crate, yeah. Yeah.
By ship maybe or something. But anyway, Gregg, you never cease to amaze me. You have a story to tell every time I talk to you.
Ditto. This goes both ways.
Yeah. Gregg is our technical director, and we're always pleased to find out when he goes off to another big trip and comes back with great footage and great ideas and wonderful. I have to say this about Gregg. He's a man that really works through peace, through people.
People to people.
People to people. Because it's the governments aren't going to quite do it.
I founded Singles Outreach, thousands of single people. It was a social thing too. So I enjoy that. I like it. And being in China and being friends with people, and Fei Bao does connect with the government too. You have to connect with the government in China. And they bought us a certain amount of lunches and so on. So yeah, it's a great deal. And please, if you're watching this show and you watch Channel 16, check out my Near and Far. Near and Far, really great show. Right now he was running some Cuba footage when he went to Cuba, and now he's going to be doing China. So if you are an armchair traveler, this is the way to find out, because he gets to the people. It's not just all canned footage, right? You'll be amazed. Yeah. China has changed in the last 10 years a lot. Absolutely. So. And I tried to catch the images of the change. Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing country. We're going to, let me tell you who's here, and Gregg is going to slip right out. And I think you have to close out the show there. Here. Help, Joel. Yep. Lauren Botcher will be here, along with Sally Knapp and Fritz Smith. I think you walk in front of the camera. They're with the Empire Service Dog Program, and I think you'll be interested because they're going to be bringing some of their dogs with them. Kim Belize will be on. She's going to be talking about yard protection for dogs. And I believe we're going to be talking about invisible fences. What does that really entail? Mary Liz Stewart will be here, and she's with the Underground Railroad History Project. So we're going to find out more about their big event coming up. We have a very special treat. The Time Benders are going to be with us. It's a band, and they're going to be performing throughout the show. And then Anissa Wahid will be on. And if you've ever tried Moroccan food over at Terra Restaurant over in downtown Schenectady here, she's going to tell you what goes into those foods and what they're like. And we're so pleased that she's going to be here to join us. So please stay tuned for another great show coming up. Watch Near and Far to find out more about China. And be sure to watch us next week. We always have a great lineup.